What is up? Welcome back or welcome to Wanderlusting Warrior. I've got my buddy Cashew here again. He's got his new fall scarf on. He's ready for the cooler weather here in Florida. We've had a crazy week. Hurricane Ian barreling down on us. We're so lucky. We were supposed to get hit so much harder than we did. But I have friends down in the Southwest where I used to live in Fort Myers. It's a horrible situation, and I'm just keeping them all in my thoughts and trying to figure out ways to help that community. And I hope you're doing the same. But it just really got me thinking about this whole idea of waiting and, something like the Camino. Maybe you've just learned about it, or maybe you've heard about it for years and you're struggling to figure out a way to make it happen because of work obligations, family obligations, or maybe even you wanted to do it and you've seen posts from people that are on their Camino and are not having a great experience. You want to get down, buddy? You want to go have your nappy? Oh, thank you. But I just really want to encourage everybody to make this Camino happen, whenever it is, but sooner better than later, because I just think, especially with COVID and now with this hurricane, it just really has put even into more perspective about how we can't be waiting to take these types of opportunities. And the Camino, it'll change your life. And that's sort of the topic of today's video in terms of this whole Camino magic. And sometimes you really only discovering that magic after the Camino. I don't really have anything prepared today. This is just me kind of talking. I've been kicking this idea around for a while, especially after I saw a post in one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, where a woman was having just a really not good time on her Camino, or at least it wasn't living up to her expectations. And I was thinking about that, and I think that sometimes channels like mine perhaps I try to keep my channel really informative and not sell just an idealized version of the Camino. I try to just mostly provide information. But I think if I had known, I had been exposed to so many people's my Camino changed my life story before I went, I don't know that the experience would have been the same for me. And I can understand setting off all of these other people's life-changing experiences in mind, and as things start to be less than wonderful, it having a pretty big effect. And so I just want to stress that it sounds so cliche, but the magic oftentimes really does come after. And I find this for so many things in life. I'm having an experience, I'm going through something that in that moment, I'm tired. I wish I had made a different decision. Usually when I'm going somewhere and I'd rather be sitting at home on the couch. But I've started to tell myself and look at it from a different perspective of, is this memory going to be something that makes my heart sing, as cheesy as that sounds? And I guess just by way of example, my in-laws were visiting from France pretty recently, and my mother-in-law's favorite American movie is The Bridges of Madison County. We weren't too far away in Chicago for the wedding, so we decided to surprise her with a trip driving out there. And I was exhausted on the drive, 6-hour drive. It was pouring rain for a lot of it. It was 2 days after the wedding. I was asking myself, why didn't I just, book myself a relaxing weekend somewhere where we wouldn't have to be doing all this traveling. And then I realized, not only is this going to be an amazing memory for her, it's going to be an amazing memory for me. It's something I'm going to look back on with so much, happiness, as a once in a lifetime opportunity. And it really was. It's that cliched expression that's you never remember how tired you were, but you remember how much fun you had or how good the experience was. And I found that to be so true. And I think this is so applicable to the Camino. Because when I think back, especially at my first Camino, I had the Camino Frances. I had a period, I was blister-free for the first 2 weeks. Then, of course, I feel like because I was getting cocky, the universe brought me down a peg and gave me horrible pinch blisters on my pinkies and then blisters elsewhere on my feet. And I remember not knowing if I was going to be able to go on. It was just the pain was terrible every day. Every step sucked. I wasn't enjoying myself until I finally got to a place for the night. Of course, I was too stubborn to take a taxi, a bus. I was in my head, I'm walking every single day. I have to get to Santiago by this day. And I mean, I got through it, but looking back now, I mean, I think that misery, in a sense, was such a crucial part of my whole Camino. If it had been all sunshines and rainbows, you know, I don't think that the experience would have been as complete as it is now, that I got through something that difficult. And then on my second Camino, it was a shorter one, when I walked way too long on the first day and already had pinch blisters forming. I knew that, yeah, they weren't going to be fun to walk with, but I knew that I could walk through that pain, and if I was able to do some lighter days or rest, I would be able to heal them. So I had that experience to help, you know, guide me going forward. And so I think the magic happens in other ways after the Camino. I mean, obviously, I think I've yet to hear from somebody that's done one, and maybe a few months after they'll say, I don't think I need to do that again. But ask them a year or two later, everyone I've talked to is dying to do another one. Maybe not the same path, but another Camino, because it's just something that when you get back into this real world, you realize how unique of an experience that was, and the depth of the bonds that you formed with the people that you met, right? I mean, there were no pretensions, there was no agenda other than just meeting people where they're at that moment in their life and sharing that journey and experience with them. And so I think it's normal that if you're having, you know, an experience that isn't all you expected it to be, tell yourself that you're going to see it differently after your Camino. It's so true that so many memories take on a positive coloring after they're done, and I feel that way about so many of the less than perfect moments on my Caminos. And I also want to use that to say, like, if you are worried about the Camino, if you're seeing these reports from people that say, oh, there are too many pilgrims, it feels crowded, or people aren't friendly, people don't speak this language or that, ignore the noise. This is your Camino. You are called to this for a reason. Go live it for yourself. Go experience it for yourself. It's good if you want to be like informed on what to pack and what you can expect in terms of terrain and things like that, but nobody else's experience can shape yours. And so even if you have like a less than stellar first Camino, I can almost guarantee you're going to be called back to another one, and that experience is going to be totally different. So just keep that in mind as you're planning. And I'd love to hear from you guys on, you know, ways that you saw the Camino magic really coming out after your Camino. I mean, I know people are moved to Spain. They changed their entire lives to make the Camino a part of their everyday existence. So yeah, sorry if this is really helter-skelter. My brain, I'm tired. It's kind of not all in one place. It's been a crazy week, but yeah, I just hope whatever's holding you back from making this Camino a reality, or your next Camino a reality, whether it's your first or your fifth, find a way past it and get back there. And I know I need to take that advice myself. Unfortunately, I'm in a profession where 2 weeks is about the longest I can manage. So I'm trying to figure that out. I need to get back to the Camino as well. So help me take my own advice. Leave comments below on how you made your Camino happen and how you saw the magic happening even after you got back. All right, thanks for listening through my ramblings, guys. Talk to you soon. And as always, muy buen camino.